Good Friday morning. Thanks so much for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Michelle Beck. Let's get to your headlines. This morning, several thousand people are still in the dark in the metro as wind keeps knocking over trees after Thursday's storms. The worst of the storms mostly missing the heart of the metro, but that nasty wind will stick with us for several hours today. Now, we just got a new video of the huge mess in Dodge County, Wisconsin. That's just north of Madison, Milwaukee. You can see trees and power lines absolutely littering the roads there. Authorities calling the damage significant. We do know some homes are damaged and at least one person was hurt in the storm, but not seriously. As the system rolled over Minnesota, it picked up steam and caused some serious damage in Wisconsin. Check out this video of a tornado in Hammond that's in St. Croix County. Some of the worst damage in St. Croix happening just south of New Richmond. Jeff Hodgins' greenhouse, his barn and chicken coop were all destroyed. He caught some video of the storm plowing through his place. Thankfully, Jeff and his wife were not hurt. Here he describes the moment the storm reached his home.
I was in this truck. I had just driven it into the barn, and no more than 10 seconds I heard this huge rush of wind behind me. And I decided at that point that I didn't want to get out of the truck. I'm just going to stay here, and the truck was starting to rock a little bit, and then it was over with.
And check these pictures out. Hail the size of baseballs, absolutely smashing windshields out of cars in Eau Claire. From there, the storm just kept moving east. The wet and cooler weather is welcome up north, where crews are still battling raging wildfires. We'll learn more about those fires this morning when Governor Walz and Senators Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith visit a command center in Two Harbors for a briefing. The three will also survey the damage from the three wildfires north of Duluth that have burned more than 30,000 acres and forced evacuations. As of right now, those fires are still 0% contained. The tragedy of the fires is bringing the already tight-knit northern Minnesota community together even more. Ian Russell shows us how people are stepping up to help from the spot at the heart of the response.
You've never met a stranger if you've ever been here.
And this was my favorite bar, so I figured why not wreck it for myself.
Nowhere feels more like home than Hugo's Bar, especially when home looks anything but.
Oh yeah.
A spot for the regulars.
You can kind of watch the whole bar turn around to see who's walking in, and when it's somebody we don't know,
Now a spot
it catches us all by surprise.
for regular help.
For the pun, whatever little fire pops up at the moment, you just deal with.
Chaotic.
That's all you got to say in the bars. We're looking for something, and 20 people jump up to help.
As donations have poured in since the start of the week.
I mean, we just saw things are coming in from Amazon that we don't even know who sent them.
Hugo's is at the heart of everything right now.
Hi.
Not far from the heart of it all.
I'm good. Okay.
Just down the street, firefighters are still battling the Camp House fire, burning thousands of acres of land.
It's surreal, just knowing that it started like a mile or two down the road.
Leaving behind ash and devastation,
That's his garage that's missing.
bringing in worry of what's possible.
It's insane because I hang out with him all the time. He's my bartender, he's my friend.
But hope here burns brighter than any fire,
There we go.
fueled by people like these.
We got peanut butter cookies, oatmeal raisin cookies.
Looks like you're dropping off.
Yes, and I have more.
At the heart of it all is Hugo's, where you'll never meet a stranger.
The first couple days, I just had a knot in my stomach, just hoping that everybody's okay.
Not now,
This is what people are relying on, so I got to be there for the people that need it.
not ever.
I mean, that's it. We're going to do what we can for as long as we can.
Well, this morning at the state capitol, lawmakers are one step closer to a budget agreement with the legislative session set to end Monday. But the chances for a special session continue to grow. DFL and Republican lawmakers announcing the budget framework, calling for significant cuts to transportation and health and human services. Lawmakers on both sides say those cuts are needed to make a dent in the $6 billion deficit projected toward the end of the decade. Meanwhile, compromises are being forged on issues like paid family leave, summer unemployment for school workers, and state health care for undocumented Minnesotans.
We are as evenly divided as any state in the history of our country has been, and here we stand with a deal.
In this division in the legislature, so closely divided that we have agreed to do what is best for Minnesotans.
Some DFL lawmakers pounded on the doors of the press conference room, vowing not to vote for part of the bill, which strips taxpayer-funded health care from adults who are here illegally but leaves it for children. This morning, there will be a vigil outside the House chambers condemning the proposal. Happening right now, President Trump on his way back to the U.S. after a whirlwind trip through the Middle East. He is heading home as an immigration battle again reaches the Supreme Court, with justices hearing arguments over the president's plans to end birthright citizenship. Alice Barr is in D.C. with the latest.
Hi there. Just before heading home from his Middle East trip, President Trump made some news about trade deals in this week that has been heavily focused on doing business with the United States. President Trump headed home from his Middle East trip after a final cultural tour and business roundtable in the United Arab Emirates, where he announced that with too many countries wanting to make a trade deal at once, his administration will start sending out letters.
Telling people what they'll be paying to do business in the United States. I guess you could say they could appeal it, but for the most part, I think we're going to be very fair.
That after the UAE president announced plans to invest $1.4 trillion over 10 years in U.S. industry, including energy and AI.
We will work very hard to deserve it.
It caps a week of deals in 3 wealthy Gulf states alongside diplomacy, pushing Iran to negotiate to abandon its nuclear program.
They're not going to make, I call it in a friendly way, nuclear dust.
All while weighing in on talks underway to end Russia's war on Ukraine.
Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together.
President Trump returning to the U.S. as the Supreme Court begins considering his administration's case on birthright citizenship and the power of federal judges. In oral arguments Thursday, the court's conservative majority appeared open to the administration's argument that a single federal judge in one state should not have the authority to block an executive order nationwide, as has happened nearly 40 times this term, including on the president's effort to end automatic citizenship for children born in the U.S. whose parents are undocumented immigrants. On that critical point, the justices appeared skeptical given the Constitution's guarantee of birthright citizenship. On those high-stakes Iran discussions, President Trump also noted that there's a nice step, the negotiations, and a violent step to get Iran to give up its nuclear weapon ambitions, saying he doesn't want to go to the second step. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Get ready for this. If you take I-494 or Highway 100, be prepared for a longer commute. There's going to be even more road construction than usual for the next few days. Gordon Severson has an outline of the projects and the traffic impact.
We all know the drill. To fix roads, you sometimes need to shut them down. However, this weekend will be more challenging than most.
This weekend is a big milestone for us. We're closing Highway 100.
Edina Engineering Director Chad Milner says the highway will close down Friday night so they can tear out an old bridge over Highway 100 and start building a new one.
Right now, that bridge behind me has one very narrow sidewalk that just doesn't work well for pedestrians. It's not safe. It doesn't feel safe.
Also at 10 o'clock Friday night, MnDOT will shut down this stretch of 494 in Inver Grove Heights from Blaine Avenue to Babcock Trail.
It is frustrating and people are going to have to take a little more time on the roads, but we try our best to minimize that as best we can.
Jenny Hines with MnDOT says the two projects are far enough away from each other that the detours shouldn't create any additional problems on the roads. She says there are a lot of scheduled highway closures this summer, so MnDOT is trying to space them out so they don't all happen on the same weekend. Case in point, 494 will close down again later this month in the Bloomington area, but MnDOT feels that stretch is too close to Edina, so they had to make sure those two closures didn't happen at the same time.
We understand your frustrations. It is a lot when a lot of construction projects are going on, but we do coordinate the best we can.
Minnesota Lynx fans, tonight is your night. The team tipping off its season in just a few hours. It is a given the game against Dallas will be exciting, but there's something extra special about the matchup, and it all leads back to Minnesota. Hopkins basketball superstar Paige Bueckers makes her WNBA debut tonight with the Dallas Wings. So her hometown here is going all in, renaming Main Street to Becker's Boulevard. It's also Paige Becker's Day there, and you couldn't write it better. Her first opponent as a professional ball player is her hometown team, the Minnesota Lynx. Here's Becker's talking about the moment.
Yeah, it's super ironic. Life really comes full circle and God works in mysterious ways, but just to be here in Dallas, embracing a new city, a new team, a new organization, and then the opening game being against the dynasty that I looked up to so much growing up, really full circle moment for sure.
And we'll all be watching. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.